There we go. Okay, well, welcome tonight to our Dynamic Destiny team call. And I'm Lisa Ware. We have a couple other ladies on the line tonight from our team, and we're talking tonight specifically about the Ultimate Communication Bootcamp. Can you all hear me okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. So the Ultimate Communication Bootcamp is a bootcamp that's held specifically for the Juice Plus company, and this is held by a couple, Michael and Kathrine Lee, and they had originally held it for 8 years in California, and so they decided they wanted to do a Texas version. So they were looking for a really great place because they've always had it at a beautiful 5-star resort in California. And they always started their morning with yoga, and then they would do the 3 meals a day that was included with the hotel and have the different speakers and stuff. So they wanted to duplicate that, which was working for all those years. So they found the Horseshoe Bay Resort in Marble Falls, Texas, and it's just beautiful. So when they were down there in Marble Falls, Kathrine Lee texted me and asked me if I would teach yoga for the event. And she sent me a photo of the event location, and it's just gorgeous, and palm trees right on the lake. And so I was like, absolutely, yes, I'm going to do it. And so my husband went with me, and so this was his first big event. So he got to come with me, and it was just an amazing couples weekend for me and him. It was really, really fun, and he got a big vision of what the Juice Plus company has to offer. So I wanted to share a little bit kind of from his perspective, and then I also wanted to share from my perspective, being in the company for a lot longer. So first of all, the 3-step system that she really started to share was called strategy, system, and story. So this started off with the kind of the opening of the boot camp, and she said to just don't be a forgetful doer. I mean, a forgetful hearer, be an effective doer. So that was kind of the focus of the whole event, is that, you know, she wanted us to take notes and actually action steps, because she is also a coach, a life coach, and a business coach. And so it comes from that kind of perspective, which was really great. And especially for me, since I'm a life coach as well. So she said that the listening is the key, being an effective listener. And so that's kind of what we started to talk about. And so the 4 questions that she really focused on was, what did you think of? What did you hear? What compels you, which is your motivation language, and what repels you. So that's kind of like how you can look at things when you are just, you know, starting to be communicative and listening. What did you think of? What did you hear? What compels you? What repels you? So in that story, whatever you're hearing, whoever you're talking to, think of those questions, and that's going to help you to be a really effective listener. And so she talked about people that have, she had like several different people come up and share their 3-minute stories. And then she said what we would do is we would just kind of summarize those key points of those people's stories. So she had like 10 people, or maybe even more, maybe 12 people, all sharing a super tiny snippet of what Juice Plus has done for their health and what Juice Plus has done for their business. And this is really awesome, because this is what when I saw my husband starting to kind of uncross his arms a little bit and listen up a little bit, because he was like, wow, these people have some really awesome stories. And so with that said, there's some recaps, you know, on different people's stories, that whenever you listen to someone's story, you're going to hear something that relates to you. And also, if you do hear like any of the Juice Plus trainings or any of the pod calls or any of the team calls, I encourage you to take notes and write down that person's name and a little bit about that person's story, because then you can always look back through your notes and say, oh yeah, you know, that's the gal that had a child with cerebral palsy. You know, that's the gal that was a teacher, and she, you know, she was always sick. You know, so you can kind of go back and remember, because if you don't write those things down with their name, it'll kind of all blur together, and you think, oh gosh, I would love to talk to that person a little bit more about their story, and you'd have no idea where to go back and figure out who that was, you know. So that's one thing I thought that was pretty cool. So we would just listen to their stories, and we'd be an effective listener, and we would hear the kind of those 4 key points of what compelled us about their story and what repelled us about their story. And repel by meaning like, oh, I would never do that. Or, you know, it was like, what kind of emotions get brought up when you hear somebody's story? And that's really how you can really translate that to somebody else. I really like that part. We had several really great speakers on that. And then we went to a kind of a different format. And so I'm going to share with you just a little quote from Elsa Billman. She closed that. And Elsa Billman, she joined the company a long, long time ago before Juice Plus was even invented. And she joined the company when the company was actually focused on what their product was called NSA, and it was water filters. So Elsa Billman has been with the company a very long time. She's a national marketing director. And she said that what she really heard that made such a huge impact to her, because what they did is they gave the Juice Plus to everybody, but they didn't give them really any education. And they're like, well, I'm selling water filters. I guess I'll just start taking these things. And they started taking the Juice Plus capsules, the red and green fruit and veggie capsules. And then all of a sudden, you know, in several months to a year, these national marketing directors that were taking these capsules were like, gosh, I haven't had any allergies. Wow, you know, I have felt really a lot more energy this last, you know, couple of months. And they started noticing things that were happening. So then they started asking more questions about the Juice Plus product. And then they started doing more trainings on it. And that's when they started doing the clinical studies on Juice Plus. This was back then, you know, 20 years ago. But she said she wanted to know why. She took it about 4 to 5 months, and it started really making an effect on her health when she had taken vitamins for 46 years. And there was really no difference in her health. And if that gives you any cue to her age, she's 88 now. And she is still as vibrant and as just a go-getter like you would never believe an 88-year-old could be. And so she's just a neat lady. But what she said is that she wanted to know why this was happening. And they started digging deeper. And I won't share her whole story, but with the synopsis of the point that I wanted to bring across was really cool. And I really liked this part. And she said that the main thing that they started training about was that there's enzymes in the food. It's raw, live, real food. The kind that she just said, God put life force in it, and God put life force in us. And that is exactly why you get life force from eating Juice Plus. She referenced Genesis 1:12. God created seed-bearing plants. And then in Genesis 1:29, God tells us to eat them. And so that is one thing that's so powerful about Juice Plus, is that it is raw, live, real food. And she said that the enzyme discussion with the doctor, and I didn't write fast enough to get the doctor's name, but I'm sure we could find this out. The doctor who was originally doing these Juice Plus trainings, he said that what enzymes do, and they didn't really have a lot of studies on that at the time, is that enzymes actually are the life force in the food. And he said, if you took a green bean and cooked it and put it in the ground, would it grow? Of course not, right? So of course it wouldn't grow. And that's exactly why other types of food, you know, don't give you all the life force that you need, especially if it's far removed, packaged, and processed. So, you know, let alone just cooked. But so that's why Juice Plus is raw and it's whole, real food. So that was what I thought was super exciting about that. And I just wanted to share that green bean analogy. I just love that green bean analogy. So you can remember that from Elsa Billman. So the next thing we did was talk about why did Juice Plus appeal to us? And it's tasty, real food. You know, I used to take vitamins, and I was a vitamin junkie. I had a GNC Gold card, and I would just go and, you know, go get my stuff. And I thought I was being all healthy, you know, because I was spending money at the health food store and I was shopping at the health food store, but I really had no clue what I was doing. I was just making some concoction of vitamins that I thought was going to work. And I was just guessing, you know, and I really didn't tell like anything was happening. I mean, I thought that I was making my body healthy, and I was hoping that what I was doing was working, and I was trusting some of the labels that I thought, but there was really no clinical research, and there was really no proof on the labels of anything that I was taking. And so when I heard about Juice Plus, why it appealed to me immediately is because it is real, whole, raw food. And so when you ask that question to yourself, why did Juice Plus appeal to you? Take a minute, and maybe if you have some notes next to you, write down, why did Juice Plus appeal to me? And then from there, figure out what that answer is. Dogs, get off the couch. Get down. Get down. Sorry, my dogs are fighting on the couch. And so anyway, if you can figure out that question, why did Juice Plus appeal to you? That's your story. The next question is, what has it done for you? So everyone's going to have their own version of Juice Plus. It may be a very short story, and it may still be growing and building. It may be a bigger, longer story, and it may be something that, you know, is going to, you know, affect more and more people as you go. So the Juice Plus story is going to be different with everybody. And so, you know, write your story. What has it done for you? And from there, the next question is, when and why did you consider this business? So of course, this is a training for reps. And so for all of our reps, you know, when and why did you consider this business? What's your story? So here, you know, of course, you're going to build your story. You're going to have a little bit more and more every single time you tell it, and it's going to be a little bit different. But, you know, I won't share my story because I've done that before, and you can always ask me my story. But what I'd like you to ask yourself is, when and why did you consider the business? So just figure out, you know, what that means to you. And, you know, like I said, it can be a tiny short story and just those 3 questions, or it can be a longer story and you can tell the whole version. So, you know, that way you can always have those guidelines to condense down your story and make it shorter or longer. So just write those down. So the 3 questions is, why did Juice Plus appeal to you? What has it done for you? And when and why did you consider the business? So those are the 3 things that's going to help you really build your story. And of course, you know, as you build your story, you're going to begin to value your paycheck more, because the more you share your story, every single dollar that goes into your paycheck is something that is helping somebody else. The only way we ever get paid is by sharing our story and by sharing the education of Juice Plus, and therefore helping other people. So next, we talked a little bit about how we communicate. And this will be my last topic for tonight. Of course, we'll have a training call that's going to follow up with the rest of this information, because it's so much good information. But how we communicate, I love these. This is kind of all about human connection. 7% is actually words, just 7% of it. That's why when we get a text and it's really like, wow, what did that mean? You know, you could take it in so many different ways, right? 38% is the tone of the voice. That's why Voxer is such a key in our business, is hearing each other's voice. Facebook now has that little tool where you can record on the microphone. Use it when you're sending messages to people that you care about, and, you know, messages about Juice Plus, because it makes a huge difference to talk to somebody versus just text something to somebody. And then 55% of that is body language. So, you know, they always say, you're speaking so loud I can't hear what you're saying. That means that everything else is actually overpowering the words. And so you want your words to align with your body language and your tone of your voice. So the one thing that I really liked that she said is, be interested, not interesting. So we did a little exercise and talked about like little things, like things that are conversation starters, like to talk about Juice Plus. Can you believe it? Fruits and veggies in a capsule? I can't believe it. You know, you have enthusiasm for what you found. And so just sharing that enthusiasm and sharing that with your body language is going to be so much more effective than if you just, you know, say it on a text, right? So this is the last part of this human relationship, and I'd love for you to take some notes on this part, because this applies to anything, anytime you're engaging with somebody. And this is called having a discovery conversation. And so when you're having a discovery conversation, your main goal is to let them talk, and you're just asking leading questions. So these are some really great leading questions. How are you enjoying that? What are your plans? It sounds to me if, da, 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 and so you're kind of recapping what you hear them say. Tell me about that. And so as you hear them say something, you're reflecting back and then you're asking them to share deeper. Tell me about that. I don't know if this is for you or not. And then you go into whatever you're going to share. So those are some really great leading questions. Here's a couple more for you. Did anybody need to get any of those again? Raise your hand or unmute. Got it? Okay. So the couple more, I may have something that could help with that. I may have something that could help with that. And then number two, my business is growing and I'm putting together a team. This may be a solution or option for you. My business is growing and I'm putting together a team. I may have a solution or an opportunity or option for you. So those are some great openings, some great ways to start conversations or to continue conversations. Of course, the more opportunity you have to actually get somebody live and on the phone or in person, the better. This is a relationship building. And what it's really about is like attracting like. So we're going to attract what we put out there. And so the more interested we are, stop, shh, quiet. We're going to get interesting people that respond. So another thing that you can say was, would you be open to a conversation? A lot of people don't want to sound closed, right? So would you be open to? And they're like, oh, okay, well, sure, I guess so. Why not? You know, it helps to open that door a little bit softer. What do you do? So just asking people, what do you do? And then when someone is always going to ask you that right back, especially if you're like at a cocktail party or at a mixer or an event or a networking thing, what do you do? So how are you going to summarize what you do with Juice Plus if that's your main focus instead of your regular job? Let's say you have a regular job and you are a cosmetologist. Well, are you wanting to grow your clientele, or are you wanting to slow that clientele down and start building a residual income with Juice Plus? So you want to lead with what you want to really talk about, right? So out of habit, you might just say, I do hair, and then the conversation is closed. But you might be able to build a different story, right? So you're in a new group, people don't know you. What do you say? And how do you present what you do? So that would be the thing I'm doing right now and I'm most excited about is, so you don't necessarily have to tell them your occupation, but you can tell them the thing I'm doing right now and I'm most excited about is. So that gets you right into talking about healthy living, clean eating, the Shred 10, our groups online, our accountability groups, our team and our energy and our events and things that we do. And so then that leads right into, well, what do you do? And then the next answer, I love this answer, and I'll say it again, I'll say it a couple times so you can get this. So the first one is, the thing I'm doing right now that I'm most excited about is, and then you go into that. And then when they do ask you, well, what is that for? How does that look? But my company is a marketing arm for the Juice Plus company. My company is a marketing arm for the Juice Plus company. I'm a rep for a company that found a way to put fruits and vegetables in a capsule. Have you heard of Juice Plus? So my company is a marketing arm for the Juice Plus company. Or another way to say that, I'm a rep for a company that found a way to put fruits and vegetables in a capsule. And then you can say, have you ever heard of it? And then you go right back to that piece of being excited. You know, it's so exciting. I can't believe that they figured out how to put fruits and vegetables in a capsule. Can you believe that? You know, and then you share your excitement. This is something that's changing people's lives. It's something that's changing people's health. It's something that's changing people's financial future. And so as you share and you know these things to be true, then the more enthusiasm you have, then the better. So you can, if they do say yes to when you say, have you heard of Juice Plus? Then you say, are you taking it? And then find out what they say. They might have a story there. That's a way for you to really be actively listening. If they've heard about it, you tell your story, your product or your business. And then if you lead with the business story, then you can also say, hey, I want to tell you a little bit about the products behind this business. And if that makes sense for you, this might be a business that is a fit for you. So once it's your turn, once that little story is over, then you're going to turn it back over to them. Do you know anyone who could benefit from more fruits and vegetables? I'm so excited about our newest product, which is the Tower Garden. So you can tell them about the Tower Garden, whatever you're excited about. I'm so excited about the newest product, which is our omegas. You know, they're all based from plant sources. Can you believe that? There's no fish in there. Have you ever taken an omega that had fish in there? So you can open the conversation, or you can talk about the aeroponic gardening. So whatever you're excited about. And then the very, very next step before you walk away is just say, hey, let me grab your number. We can text or talk a little bit later, and I'd love to talk to you a little bit more. So you get an action step, and then you text them either some information or a video right then and there. And then, yeah, you just ask them, watch and see what stands out for you. And then I can't wait to hear what stood out. What would be a good time to connect either da-da-da or da-da-da. And so either if you're on the phone or if you're in person, you can just kind of, what I do is I'll just, here, put your contact info in my phone, and then I'll text them right back so that they can save my number. Or they can just text me right then, and I'll say I got it, and I'll save it, and then I'll say, please add your contact info here, and I'll hand them my phone. So that's really the easiest way, is just to change, give them your phone, or vice versa, get their phone and put your number in there. If it's not in person, then you're doing this via, messaging back and forth. You're going to change the script a little bit, but you really want to boil down to getting yourself into a live conversation. And so when you do that, you want to bring in your mentor or your sponsor. So that way you have a three-way conversation and say, hey, let's continue this conversation with my business partner. Would you be open to that? Simple as that. No pressure. No worries if not, So would you be open to a conversation? Let's continue this conversation. I love talking to you. I'd love to get my business partner on the phone because she knows a lot about this, or she knows a lot about da-da-da, or whatever piece of the story that you're going to share about the person you're pulling onto the phone. And the power of the three-way calls is just the most effective. It's really the most just really I think it's been the most impactful tool in my business thus far, is by partnering up with my business partners, my sideline team, my team, y'all, and my upline, to pull people onto the phone just to meet. And so that's really, really a cool tool, and it's always available to you. And that's how we really get our business just often to a running start. So with that said, I'm going to just wrap up our phone call, and I will ask y'all to go ahead and, I can unmute you y'all. And then if you have any questions, feel free to jump in with any questions, and then we'll close our call. Do you have any feedback or any questions so far?
I don't think so. That was pretty fast.
Yeah, it's a lot of information in a short amount of time. So that's why we're breaking it up into a couple different calls. We'll do another call in 2 weeks. And hopefully you took some fast notes, but we are recording this, so you'll be able to go back and listen to it again, and maybe slow it down and pause it. We're keeping it to 30 minutes.
Okay.
Did they say anything?
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I wondered if they said anything about rejection, like when you're asking somebody if they've heard about it, how would you handle, like, oh yeah, I used it and it gave me cramps or whatever.
I don't think they really covered objections. I think they just covered the fact to address why they didn't get on the product.
Okay.
I think that was the main focus, that if they heard of it, why weren't they taking it? And, then just sharing with them the benefits of the product. It wasn't talking about unhappy customers, which is pretty rare. I've only had a few customers over all these years that have been unhappy. So I've never really ran into a stranger that had that opposition. So I think the focus was just to get them excited about learning something new about health and wellness, and really getting it out of your own perception of what they're thinking of you or what they're thinking of the product, and just learning about how you can partner with them to help them with their health, and just getting them excited about that. So.
Oh, I have a question.
Sure.
As far as the food being live and having the live enzymes and stuff, and of course I need to do more research, I suppose, but so when you're, let's say, eating the gummies, how is that still like live? Like, how do you get that across that you're looking at a jelly thing how is it still, containing the live enzymes? I mean, I understand the point of the process is to preserve, the nutrients of the food. But it just seems where a little jelly thing is, is live food in it.
So I'm sorry, I broke up there for a second. So what I usually do is I just start reading them the label, and I will just show them exactly what's in it, and only this. It only has the tapioca syrup and the cane juice and the maltodextrin for the sweeteners, which is very little sugar compared to the standard American diet.
Yes.
And then the list of the fruits and vegetables. And then if they have a question on how the fruits and vegetables are dried and put into a powder, I'll send them a video. And so then I'll just go onto the Juice Plus YouTube channel and then say, look, and Bridge the Gap is one of the greatest videos. If you just Google Bridge the Gap, it's just all across the board, really good video. It's a little longer, but I also have a ton of playlists on my YouTube that I've saved that are public under my profile. It's Yoga for Love Net. And you can go to youtube.com/Yoga for Love Net and save any of those to your own YouTube. And then I just go to my YouTube app, hit share, text it right to that person right then and there. And then I'll say, hey, if you have a second to watch that, would you let me know your thoughts? I can't wait to hear about what you think about after watching that video. And then I'll follow up with them and put a note in my phone. And so, did you like that video? Did they answer some of your questions about how Juice Plus is made? And, then continue the conversation and then just pull in somebody else who has a little more experience and say, hey, can we continue this conversation? I can bring Lisa on the phone with you. So that's kind of how we do that. So just keeping the conversation open.
I have read previously over the years and then thought it was a urban myth, but my daughter is a nurse. And when she was in school, they showed them pictures of people who took vitamins for years and years and years, and they would get blockages in their guts and their stomach, their intestines and stomach, because they never digested. Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? Yeah, it's crazy. If someone has a picture circulating around of an x-ray that actually shows the vitamins stuck in the colon.
Yeah.
And, that's pretty powerful because people think that just because you're taking vitamins and they might be from a respected company or a respected establishment that they are going to get absorbed, and there's no proof. So people have to also learn to believe things that may not be true, and they're also, learn to not believe things that may not be true because they might have been believing these things all those times. And I was one of those vitamin people that believed all that. I thought, well, just because I was taking a big old calcium and I was taking an oil capsule, that I was getting everything I needed with my little multivitamin that I was taking. And
you're probably absorbing very little of it.
Yeah, you don't even know. And I thought since my multivitamin was $75 a month, and it must be awesome, versus the $12 ones at the Target or whatever.
Yeah.
But the main thing is that you just got to get them back to the clinical research. And also another thing to point out too, that I actually just was brought to my attention just the other day, is that when you are sharing clinical research with people, make sure they know that Juice Plus did not publish that research. People, even as much as you let them know these are from prestigious journals, they think that Juice Plus published it. And of course, they think it's biased. So make sure people know that when you do tell them about the research, this is from really established sources that are very, very credible. And you can't get into those journals without being peer reviewed and using these very efficient ways of doing these studies, which is, placebo-based studies, double-blind studies. And then they have to go in and review them to get into the journals. And then most of the journals have actually even come to Juice Plus in a lot of the times to ask Juice Plus to do the research. So, people start to see those facts in front of them, and they, some people don't need all that fact. Some people just like the fact that it's fruits and vegetables in a capsule and, it's food like the Jetsons would eat, Some people are easy, but some people are a little harder and they take more and more. And if you study any of the GoPro from Eric Ware, he says it takes between 7 and 9 contacts for people to build trust with you. And so these tiny little bits of trust building really help to establish, a firm relationship with the person once they become your customer. So Does anybody else have any other questions?
Not yet.
All right. Well, we're going to stop our recording if y'all wanted to say, unmute and say goodbye.